Lickers, and welcome to Book 101 Radio. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest helping over 100,000 children learn self regulation, manage their emotions, and cope with anxiety by 2027. One of her advocacy, no other than Miss Jacintha Field.
Hi, Daniel. Lovely to be here. Thanks for
Welcome,
having me.
yes, welcome to Book 101, Miss Jacintha. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yeah, beautiful, Daniel. So, my name's Jacintha Field. It's a bit of a tongue twister. My name. It's like Samantha and Jacinta put together. So everyone calls me Jay. I'm a family and child counselor, art therapist. I've studied play therapy, and I'm a kids yoga teacher. So I had a bit of a tough time. We separated. My son started school and it was COVID all at the same time. And he was not okay. He was throwing bins around the house, running up the street. His emotions were so well beyond anything I could support at the time. So that's how I became a counselor. I wanted to be support my own child, and yeah, I've had a private practice in Torquay, and now I'm utilizing those elements to build an app to, and that's our mission, is to support 100,000 children with self-regulation by 2027.
Miss Jacinta Field, thank you so much
Mhm.
for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today let's talk about raising emotionally strong kids when you are still healing yourself. How do you
Mm.
recognize when your own emotional wounds are affecting your parenting?
Oh, I mean, when we separate or divorce, it's very challenging because we're broken and our kids are broken and we're trying to support each other through it. And it is a very tough time to be able to really heal kids through that element and modalities while you're trying to heal yourself. So that was something that I experienced firsthand. And as I said, my son was throwing bins up the street and running around the house, and his emotions were so well beyond me. So we just learnt to sit in that space together and really have that community of conversation. Like, he was only 5 or 6 at the time, and he couldn't support how he was feeling, even though I did breath work and meditation and all of these things to help me. That language doesn't actually work for kids. So we had to work out a language that really he understood with his own healing, and that was through drawing and through art. So used to draw circles with him and say, can you draw the faces in the circle of how you're feeling? And that's how we started the process of healing through play with him. Like, kids speak a very different language to us, Daniel. So it was that's why I started studying play therapy, is because yeah, kids speak differently to adults, and so it's finding that modality that works for them. And that was my whole journey, is just allowing children to feel whatever's coming up for them and accepting wholeheartedly that kids are going to have big moments, just like we as parents are going to have big moments. So it's important that we all heal together.
Definitely. And
Mm.
what are some healthy coping mechanisms you've used to avoid protecting your past pain into your kids?
Yeah. Um, it's being really honest about how you're feeling in these modalities, and when we're going through those elements where we feel broken, rather than trying to pretend that we're Superman or Superwoman. We really want to teach kids that it's okay to feel. And sometimes we're sad, and sometimes we're angry, and sometimes we're disappointed. And through that beautiful element of being really authentic with our feelings and saying to our kids sometimes, I'm just having a really sad day, or I'm having a really frustrating day, or I'm a little bit upset today. We don't need to necessarily go into the story of it, especially when we're separating, but that helps children relate to their own feelings. In practice, I will say to the kids, when they come in, I'll say, I want every part of you here. Like, every part of you is welcome. And I think that really opens up that space for children to be able to feel into who they are as human beings, and really accept every part of them. And I think even us adults, Daniel, I think we need a lot of work surrounding that too, because we love the lighter elements such as happy and joy, but when it comes to sadness or even depression or anxiety, we kind of push away those emotions. So it's just helping us feel whole and accepting that some days we aren't going to be as good as others, and that's okay.
Yes, definitely. Don't compare yourself to other people. And how do
Yeah.
you balance self healing with being fully present for your child's emotional needs, Miss J?
Yeah, that's a big one. We actually moved to the south, surf coast, which is I'm in Australia in Victoria, because we needed to be near the beach, we needed to be in nature, we needed to immerse ourselves in all of these elements. We were got to move before we were separated, so it was just a move that we made after we separated, and it was just a healing element for us of realizing that when we're frustrated, like my son will say to me, if I'm in a bad mood, he'll say, Mummy, you need to go for a run, because he's recognized that me going for a run helps me move through my own stuff. Even just this week, I've been really quite sick, and I've been a betrayal have been coming up a lot for me, and I went to the park the other day with him, and I sat there and I just cried, and he's like, "You okay, Mummy?" I'm like, "I'm just got some big stuff happening at the moment, mate. I've just got some big stuff happening." And he said, "That's okay, Mummy. Let it all out. Let it all out. I'm right here with you. I got you. You let out what you need to. Do you need a hug? What is it that you need in that moment?" And I think through us mirroring that behavior for our kids rather than saying the old school ways, which our parents used to say, Daniel, eat concrete, harden up, you'll be right, get over it. If we just allow human beings to feel,
Yes,
it helps release whatever we need to out of our body.
true. And you're lucky to have those kids for sure.
Yeah, he's a beautiful kid. He's very
Beautiful kid.
self-aware, probably
Yeah.
more self-aware than most adults are, to be honest. He's really beautiful.
Well, what's one limiting belief from your own upbringing that you had to unlearn for your kids?
Oh gosh, there's so many, but that I wasn't worthy. I think that not feeling worthy was definitely something that I've had to sit in a lot, and that I wasn't good enough, and um I've been shut down most of my life, especially which starts in childhood with your family, doesn't it? Like you have an opinion, and you'll be shut down because you think differently to other people. And I've had to really stand in my power over time to realize that the way that I think is very beautiful, and it suits me as a human. It doesn't necessarily mean that that works for them, and that's okay. They have their path, I have mine. But it's just learning that my voice is really important, and what I have to say is really important. And when you start speaking your voice, which is why I'm doing so many podcasts, and starting my own podcast, is because I think that we've got a lot to say. Nobody has the journeys and experiences that I have. I've had a lot of traumas in my life, and I'm really good at sitting down and working out why they're happening and where the patterns are coming from and where I've abandoned myself in my life and where I've allowed betrayal to come up. I'm very good at sitting in that space because I've done a lot of work. And I think, yeah, I think my voice is really important. And yeah, that's a big one from my childhood that's actually come up a lot at the moment, is that shutting down. Everyone has a different opinion to other people. We don't always need to think the same, otherwise life would be boring.
Life for sure is boring without those ingredients. Let's talk about the
Mm.
parenting with emotional intelligence. How do you
Yeah.
model emotional regulation for your kids when you're still working on it yourself?
Yeah, I think that one's about really being honest and having that open communication with your kids and apologizing to them and saying, "Hey, I didn't show up as my best self. I had some really big stuff going on inside me." And I think it's really important to be really honest with your kids, just like you would with a partner or your family. It's also important to be honest with our kids, because kids don't blame you, they blame themselves. So we don't want kids blaming themselves. We want kids to really feel into the beautifulness as they are, and we all have stuff going on. And the more that I can teach my child that I've got stuff going on, the more they realize that their friends have stuff going on and their teachers have stuff going on, and it's actually not to do with them. It's just that they've got stuff going on in their own body that they need to process. And so it's Definitely coming from a place of having open communication with kids, I think is really, really important, and listening to what kids have to say. Daniel, do you have children? Do you have children
Yes,
yourself?
yes, I
How old
do
are they?
have. They are now teenager.
You're teenagers. Oh, you're in the
Yes,
teenage phase. How's that
teenagers.
going for
Yes.
you?
Well, they have their own lives now, and it's different when they're young because,
Yeah,
well, they grow fast. They grown fast,
they do.
and for those years that they're still young, please
Mm,
do show your love to your kids while they're still young,
yeah, it's
because
so important.
yes, so
Mm.
important, very important.
And
And
listening to
yes,
them and not trying to fix all their problems. We often rob our kids of the moment for them, a teaching moment for them. You know, we want to solve their problems and their solutions, and that's not always the answer. The answer is to really let kids guide them and be there with them and listen to them, but help them to sort things out themselves. So when they go out to this big wide world that's out there, they're ready.
they're ready. Yes,
Mm,
and the foundation that you give to them is very important. What's the
definitely.
difference between protecting kids from your struggles and being honest in an age of appropriate way?
Let's use this in an element of separation and divorce, which is very common for people these days. And it's a really hard. I work with lots of separated couples and children and kids and parents. And it's we don't need to necessarily go into the story of things with children. At the end of the day, when it's separation or divorce, for instance, it's still their father or their mother or their carer. And so we don't want to ever speak negatively about the other person. We don't want to necessarily go into the story of what's happening, but we can talk about our feelings and how we're feeling around that. And that's really important to only ever speak positively about their parent because as I said, we don't want that. We always want them to love their parents at the end of the day, and I think that that's really important. And so, if we our kids aren't our therapists, so we want to make sure that we go to people outside of our children and allow our kids to feel, but not hold our baggage.
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
That's very important, people, that your kids will not feel the sorrow that having you inside. And how do you help child process big emotions without dismissing or overprotecting them?
Yeah, of course. So it's just about making feelings normalized within the household and sitting around the dinner table and saying, "Hey, how was your day?" And rather than saying, "My day was great, it was fantastic, everything worked." And sometimes that's true, but actually saying, "You know what? I had a really sad day today and this was really disappointing because a contract fell through and it made me feel really sad and I had to sit in that sadness space." And, my body felt like I needed to get out in nature. So I went for a really big walk and that really helped me. So this is what we call mirroring behavior, Daniel. If we speak about what our needs are, like I'm away on the surf coast this week, because I said to my son, like I don't have much help with him with the day to day stuff. Like we just moved back to Melbourne and my family help, but I've never really had much support with the day to day stuff. And there comes a point where you're exhausted, and so I said to him, "Hey, mate." I just need some time, some mummy time. Like, it doesn't mean that I don't want you around. It's just that I need to fill up my cup because my cup's very empty at the moment. And I want to be the best mummy I can possibly be for you. And that means that I need to just fill up my cup. And he was really respectful towards that. He didn't think that I was abandoning him or not bringing him because I didn't want him. He realized that, I needed some time to myself. And as parents, it's okay to have time to yourself. It's okay to light up your cup. It's okay to step away for a moment if you're feeling quite your cup's full to take some time for yourself. And he said to me today, I called him this morning and I said, "Mate," he said, "Mummy, are you having a good time?" And I said, "Oh, I am, darling. I've gone for lots of walk along the beach. I've gone surfing a couple of times. I've been out in nature. I'm always watching the sunset and sunrise, which makes me so happy." And he said, "But you're not working too hard, are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm working a little bit. I'm doing lots of podcasts and we're building an app." And he goes, "No, You need to make sure that you do all of the other stuff, the surfing and the connecting and the hiking and the going out in nature before you do any work. And he's 11 years old who's teaching
Yes,
me these things. And I think that that's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Just the communication that we have with our kids is so important. Like we watch Survivor, we're big Survivor fans, and so I'll call him at nighttime, watch Survivor together. So there's still that connection piece, and I think the connection piece between child and parent is so incredibly
very
important, and
important.
that's obvious
Yes.
that's lacking a lot, especially with inflation and parents are working so hard. And we really need to make sure that we put our kids' needs first.
Yes. Link the connection, people.
Mm,
Because that is very important as a parent.
mm,
Even as I said, they grown fast, but still you have the link. How do you
yes.
handle your own fears while still allowing your child to take healthy risks?
My kid's a bit of an extremist. He loves the big stuff. He doesn't have much fear. It's like he'll get me to do things that I find incredibly challenging. He's like, "Mummy, you got to face your fears. You got to face your fears." And that's obviously language that I've spoken to him over time. Um, I think when my fears aren't so much physical, they're more mental in the space of especially business and putting myself out there, and having a voice. That's kind of when you ask me about fear, that's what fear means to me. And I think it's just realizing that we are so worth it, and um, we're so ready. Like we're ready to be whoever it is that you want to be in the world. You've just got to start putting yourself out there. So that's what I've started doing a lot more lately, and breaking through those fear elements. And that then teaches my son. We're building an app together, which utilizes athletes and people of influence to teach kids the art of self regulation. And my son sees what I do, and that's breaking through fear. And so, through mirroring behavior, that then helps him with his. The kids are always watching.
Yes. And they are curious in everything. You need to
Yes.
explain to them
Hmm.
what's happening. What
Yeah.
generational cycles are you consciously trying to break and how?
This is a big one. Um, I think very differently to my family. I'm definitely the black sheep of the family. I think very differently to them. And I have a big picture outlook on life. And I think that we can explore, and there's just so much more out there. There's a big wide world out there. And I want to, have a piece of that big wide world. And I think that playing small is something, through generational trauma, that's played over and over again in my family, and it's breaking through those elements of staying small and knowing that we can step into that power to play big. Um, yeah, I think that's a really big one for us and my family, and knowing that we're worth it, and knowing that we can succeed in things that we put our mind to.
Miss Jacinta Field, what are your short term and long term goals?
Yeah, really good question, Lucas. With the app that we're building at the moment, we don't want to just stay in Australia. We want it to be global. So, building an app, we want Happy Souls Kids. It's called, to be a global platform and a leader in mental health for children. So we want to support kids all around the world, with the lessons. Can you imagine, Daniel, that you as a child knew the lessons that you now know as an adult? That's the work that we do, and we do that through unique storytelling, where a child can connect the person that they admire. Um, and so that would be, I guess, a short term goal in the next 5 years. The long term goal would be making, Happy Souls Kids, and collaborating with many different businesses all over the world to be able to support children, ensure that their safety, and making sure that we are able to, as a collective, support as many kids and families around the world to connect together, and have that beautiful connection piece within each other. And so, yeah, the short term goal is Happy Souls Kids, and the long term goal is Happy Souls Kids. But it's just ensuring that we speak our truth. And another part of who I am as a human is getting people to be really honest and authentic and speaking their truth, and I think that that's really important for us.
Good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success, Miss J. And what would be your
Thank
piece of
you.
advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Good question. You have everything that you need inside to succeed. You just need to believe in yourself. If you have something that comes to you, trust that. Other people are not always going to understand your vision. They're not going to understand where you're going. And you need to learn to trust yourself and block out what's happening outside of yourself. And if you've got a goal, if you've got a burning desire, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is one of my all time favorite books. So if you're stuck at the moment, definitely go to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill because it really helps us put us on our path. And just to go for it, we don't want to spend life in regret and just really just going for what you know inside is your purpose.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that advice and for your recommended book, Miss J. And what's one's resources that's helped you the most in your journey?
It's really coming back to myself, Daniel. I think that I've read so many different self-help books for the last 20 years, and a lot of them contradict each other. And I think it's when we come back to ourselves, when we do a little journaling, meditation, we work out what path that we want to be in. I think that that's kind of the best source that we can have is trusting in self and backing ourselves. And yeah, making sure that you journal because it's almost like a conversation that you're having with yourself. And if you don't know how to journal, just actually write that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm writing here. This is stupid. This is really silly. I don't want to do this. And that's how you start. You just start that daily practice of having a conversation with yourself of where that leads to. And I think that that's one of the best resources that I've got. And through meditation, sitting with ourselves, moving through all of our stuff. We all have stuff. When we're triggered, look at that. It's so important.
Yes,
Yeah, so
truly
important.
important. Truly, truly important. People, journaling is highly recommended. Please do it.
Mm.
It will release all the anger or whatever inside your brain. And Miss J, how do you draw strength and support when parenting feels overwhelming?
I think it's asking for help. When I was living in the Surf Coast, I was working full time in practice. I was building a startup, which in itself is a beast. And I was doing all the driving to Melbourne, so which is a 4-hour drive on my respite weekend, and I barely had any support with my child. And I really did run myself into the ground. And I think one of the strongest things that I've ever done is said, "Hey, I need help. Like I need my support from family, I need support from friends." Um, and we moved back with family to be able to support us. And so I could really have the time to build my startup. I've done accelerator after accelerator. And I think that that's takes courage to say, "Hey, I'm struggling."
Yes. People, if you need help, please ask for help. People, there's a lot of people out there want to help you.
Mm.
And how can parents who are still healing find community without feeling judged?
Whew, this is a big one because not everyone's going to think that the same way as you do, and it's finding the people that do. And sometimes there's a lot of people out there, as you were just saying, Daniel, but it doesn't mean that they're your people. So I think the best way to find your tribe is to show up really authentically. And when you show up authentically, that therefore the people that resonate with you will come to you. So it's putting yourself out there, it's going to different environments, and it's just trusting who's on your path and who's not on your path, and working out who you really connect in with.
Very well said, Miss J. Very well said. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my Abstract Essay is already in fifth season, Abstract Poetry in second season, and my Book 101 review in fifth season too, Comedy 101 in second season, and my Food 101 in fifth season as well, Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101 Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss J, what is your one piece of hope, of encouragement for parents who feel like their past might be holding their kids back?
Really good question, Daniel. I like that one. Um, it's never too late to show up for your children, even though things may have happened in the past. It's okay to sit down with your child and say, hey, I wasn't my best self. I wasn't the best person that I could possibly be in that element, and I'm so sorry. And I want to be the best parent that I can be to you. And what can we do together to make that happen? So I think that um, asking the question with kids and apologizing to them is so important and helps them realize just how wonderful they are as human beings. And to have
Miss.
more compassion for yourself as well. You're not
Yes.
always going to get it right. You're not.
Yes.
And that's okay too. Be more compassionate. You know, when you're in the kitchen and you pour over the milk and you get really frustrated with yourself, what about just saying, that's okay, I made a mistake. And everybody
Definitely.
makes mistakes in life and it's okay.
Yes. People, let's give a big, big hand to Miss Jacintha Field. Thank you so much for empowering us. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your upcoming app, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, so we've got Happy Souls Kids. Our website is www.happysoulskids.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, we're on Facebook, and I've got LinkedIn. My name's Jacintha Field, Jacinthafield. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and yeah, we would love to connect because this world it's not easy, and it's really great to find people that you really resonate with and can hold that space for you.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Jacinta Field because if you support her for sure, more and more and more empowering advocacy to come. More and more children's will empower through her advocacy. So, Miss Jacinta, thank you so much for your time.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me, Daniel, and appreciate you. Thanks for creating this space to have these conversations.
More to come, people. See you soon.